That makes it so easy for me now.
It slipped.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
Dan.
This is Board Game Rundown. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We've got our hands on a copy of Aeon's End, Legacy at Gravehold. And we're going to come at this with like a couple different perspectives. And we're just going to talk spoiler-free about our experiences as we kind of work our way through the different scenarios, episodes, whatever you want to call it. So I guess we'll just start by like, where are we? What is our relationship to Aeon's End?
So if you played through the first Aeon's End Legacy, which is called Aeon's End Legacy, you'll have a bit of a grasp on like where you're at and everything. And if you haven't, you can still play through and there's a read this first thing. And it basically gives you all the major plot points, everything that happens in the first Aeon's Legacy game. So you don't necessarily have to have played through it. But I don't want to say too much.
No, just what's your experience with so far with Aeon's End? Like when you come to the game, you've come to the game playing through the first Legacy.
Correct.
Right. You like Aeon's End.
I do.
Right. Okay. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, yeah. No, yeah, I enjoy the Aeon's End. I love the gameplay system, how you prep your spells during your main turn, and then at the start of your next turn, your spells, you can choose to have them go off and use their effects. You have these different gates that you're opening up, and as you open the gates, certain gates will do extra damage. I enjoy that. I love the no shuffle aspect, so as you're gaining cards and discarding them, you're just going to flip your discard pile over, and it's going to become your draw deck, and I like that you can kind of plan out how things exercise like that.
Spencer, what is your relationship to Aeon's End? Ever played?
I've never played it at all. I've seen it. I've read a little bit about it, but I've never played it. I never tried to get any spoilers or anything like that. So this is my first real exposure to the game.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. I mean, it's definitely a legacy game. You have all the things where you can see, oh yeah, I can put a sticker there at some point, things like that.
Oh, right.
But they all have, I would say, an ability on the back of the card.
No, they don't all have an ability.
They don't all have.
Thank you.
But several of them have abilities on the back, so just make certain that you turn them over and read the back, because those abilities are game-changing for those characters.
Daniel?
Same thing as Spencer, really. I had heard, well, Bob used to talk about it a lot.
Yep.
So I had heard of Aeon's End a lot. He tried to get me into a thing at one point, I think, and schedules just didn't work out. And then he started one, and I think you started a second one. And so I had heard a lot about this Aeon's End. And I mean, when someone said Legacy Deck Builder, I was in at that point. So yeah, I've been excited to try out Aeon's End. And for this section, all I'll say is I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah, so I played Aeon's End one other time at a convention. It was kind of late. I did not have a great time playing it. I didn't like the art. There was a bunch of I just felt like it was a little grindy at times. And again, because I didn't like the art, I didn't find the story or the theme that interesting. Not that that matters. And I was not as wowed by the no shuffle thing as most people seem to be. And that's fine. I'm in the minority there. So I kind of came in as like the guy on this, playing. So just to kind of set up
and enjoyed it. 2, hadn't been involved at all, and you were kind of
more.
To begin with.
I wouldn't say I don't like it. I was just cold on it.
Sure.
Is probably a fair way to say it. But like Bob kind of said, it is pretty much a standard deck builder. It starts off like most. This one, everybody's got a unique build, depending on their character. And they very easily, like, hey, you get these cards, you get these cards, you get these cards. This is actually your starting hand. So it goes to that level. This is your starting hand.
This is your starting deck in the order they need to be in.
Yeah, and stuff. So that's interesting. And then, I mean, basically a boss pops out, you got to fight it. But yeah, so on your turn, you're going to play your cards, and then you're going to have a lineup, a fixed lineup.
Like a Dominion style.
That you're going to buy from. And then, like Bob said, you order those cards so you buy them in the order you want them in your discard pile.
Correct.
And then the cards that you have played, you then assign to your discard pile in certain ways.
Whatever you want,
Everybody's got like a charge ability. So if you can't buy anything or don't want to buy anything, you can spend 2 of your purchase power to add like a charge to your sheet. That was in regular Aeon's End, right?
Correct.
And that gives you like a big ability that can fire off and do a thing.
Which are super powerful.
And then everybody's got like all these portals up at the top that you
Breaches, please.
Excuse me. Breaches.
You fool.
Well, if it wasn't such a dumb thing, I might have remembered that.
It's not dumb.
Yeah.
It's just the way the magic works in this world.
Sure.
Yeah. because you're summoning that power through the breaches and stuff.
I just don't like this world. So, anyways, you've got your breaches.
Sure.
Hold
on to 'em.
And some are open. Some players have more open than others to start the game.
Correct. They're all in different starting phases.
Rotation.
Right.
Mhm.
And then
Rotations.
and I do like that mechanic. I think it's really interesting how you can
Focus
one.
it and start rotating.
What
it.
doesn't make any sense to me though is that if you focus one, you can put a spell there.
Right, because you're focusing it, so you're pulling some energy through it, so you can get a spell prep there, but it has to go off the start of next turn because it's unstable.
Right. I
Whereas your
saw it
open breach is
thematically as
stabilized.
instead of opening it, you're kind of wedging it open, and then you can burst your spell through really quick, and it's going to close. Like,
Correct.
that's kind of how I thematically
Yes.
looked at it.
One of the other neat things about this is the way the turn order works. You're not just going.
Yeah, I
around
do
and
like
around.
that. I do
Yeah.
like that quite a bit. We have the turn order deck, and there's 2 different ways you can play where it's like either you just have the straight number,
1, 2, 3, or 4.
and then the nemesis have their cards mixed in there.
Correct.
Or you can do the 1 and 2, and then so one of those players gets to go.
And then when the other one gets drawn, the other player.
Yeah,
goes.
no, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I really, for a co-op, I think that is a great way to do turn order stuff. And yeah, so again, without going into too much detail, so Bob has started to play the other side.
Yeah,
of
so
this.
this is not too spoilery. I think I can get away with saying this because, like, once you read the introductory page, it's going to say to choose this or that, right? So it's not like you play through the game and spoilers. No, you read the first paragraph. It's going to ask you to make a decision, and you're going to choose to either fight the Azure or to help the Gravehold people, right, and use the Gravehold book, or you're going to choose to join the Azure people and help them, or Azure.
Right.
I'm not sure how that's pronounced.
Sure.
And so, yeah, you're going to use one of those books or another. So the other group I'm playing with, I'm doing one, and with this group here, we chose the Gravehold. And we're going that
So we
route.
see what the other side looks like.
Yeah, so I can see what the other side, both sides look like.
And they do a good job of like, it's sort of like if you've played Above and Below, if you've done X, like when you finish the book, you go like, oh, well, you did this and you met these parameters, this happens,
Right.
and it even kind of refines it down where, so if there's a couple of different
Like
options, it's not just A and B. It might be like,
if you did A with this,
Yeah.
then this happens.
Yeah,
But
I
if you
wanted
did
to
B
say
with so much.
prerequisites, but it's kind of like the opposite.
Yeah, it's basically like how well or how
Yeah.
bad did you succeed at
Yes.
A?
yes.
Degrees of difficulty kind of thing.
And, I found this quite difficult. I mean, we pulled it out at the
Yeah.
end, but it felt like it was
It was
getting really
tense for a
close.
while.
We were
Yeah,
getting close.
we were like killing all these minions. We're like, we have yet to touch this bad guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're like, okay, here come the big spells. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom.
so it took a little while for me to get up my stuff, but when I did, I'm able to get all of these charges really quickly. It lets me do stuff just off
Yeah.
constantly. It's a nice little engine
It's
powerhouse
almost like an
thing
engine
over here,
building
yeah.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and I'll just say real quick, like having done both of these, like you get different set of characters depending on which route you take. Way different. They
Yeah.
work way different. The art's different. Like everything is just super different. I'm pretty impressed with how different of a play style they are.
So it seems like to me, again, this is one game in, and I don't know anything.
I think I'm 3 games in on the other one.
It feels like you buy this game and you get 2 playthroughs out, like playthroughs all the way through. Like you could play as one
This
side
one and then play the other
then maybe
side.
play
That's
as the other
definitely a
side.
possibility. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like, because like even like when you look at the you get these decks. There's like. This is not spoilers because as soon as you open the box, there's a million of these decks of cards, and they've
Right,
all
right,
got
right.
codes on them. And a lot of the ones that we've been opening are the GH, the
Right,
Gravehold.
Gravehold.
Right. So, and so the AZ ones are for the other one. So yeah, you pretty much get 2 playthroughs. Now there are some like the E deck, which I'm not going to say, but I will show you guys. That's what those guys are. So that might have some sort of an effect as far as playing that a second time through. You might have to get a recharge pack that gives you like a new E pack of
right,
cards. You know what I
right.
mean? But you can still use like the rest of the envelopes, which when you go to play a scenario, there's going to be a ton of these envelopes, and it's going to say, open up envelope this. These are your characters that you have, or these are your monsters you're fighting, stuff like that.
And it may even come out to where we have different characters later on in the game. I don't know.
Right. Like, I don't want to give away like too much because, like, you know, like there are like a barracks, right? And that'll have like different effects that'll apply to like your whole party and whatnot. And there is definitely a possibility of other characters that will unlock, and you get to choose which characters that you want to take.
Who
from
are
the
we
barracks.
who are we
And
bringing
That
into
seems like a
this?
natural place to introduce too, that you will be marking on cards like
Yes.
permanently.
Yes.
You will be
and
adding
putting stickers on things.
So-
Yep, you'll
there doesn't
see here
seem
we've
to
got
be any
marks.
tear up, at least not
No,
that we've seen.
but I
It
feel
just
like
says
the
banish.
Right.
I feel like the actual physical marking of the cards does kind of.
Sure, but at the
Alter
same
it.
time, if someone cared that much, you could sleeve this game and mark the sleeves.
Yep,
Yeah.
you could.
That's
Definitely
true.
could.
Good point.
So,
I hadn't thought of
yeah.
that. Actually, that's a good
and,
idea.
And just so you know, like these like 9 starting cards that we have that we completely different from the 9 starting cards.
Right.
Sure. Which again makes me think that maybe you could play it
Right.
again on the other side.
Yeah, it's just these characters here that.
They could be the crossovers.
Correct.
Sure. But overall, I guess just like what's your impressions so far? And you've clearly played the most because you've technically played 4 sessions. Right, like 3 on one side and 1
of
on
the actual Legacy Gravehold.
Yeah.
4 sessions. Plus, I played like 95% of the previous Aeon's
I
Legacy.
thought you were gonna say 95 missions.
No.
Holy
and
cow!
I've played a bunch of just the standard Aeon's Legacy, Aeon's End standalone expansions that they have.
Sure.
Do you know
I played a
about
bunch
how
of
many
those.
scenarios are there in the last one?
In the Legacy one?
Yeah.
I think I played 10 scenarios.
Okay.
So a pretty good amount, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't quite finish it because I'm still trying to get Levi to come back over and do that.
Yeah.
But of course, we started a new one now. That's a different story.
Sure.
But yeah, so I obviously enjoy Aeon's End quite a bit. I love the not shuffle thing. I'm really enjoying my character that I picked. At first, I was a little confused on how the ability worked, but after some online consultation and yes, reading where like the actual period is and then it starts another sentence, I kind of assumed, I guess, from Magic that like since it was underneath that paragraph that it was still all part of that same ability, but no, it's like that period is end, that is done. This next sentence down is a separate thing.
That's actually so big. I think that's something we should actually cover in this for people that maybe are like wondering if they're interested in the game and are going to look into it. Is that you guys are probably going to have the same problem we did?
Yeah.
Because this is the sentence structure is like.
Yes.
Correct.
It's
and
important.
you don't think of it that way. You know, when a
Right.
new sentence begins, it is a new sentence in this game, and it does not care what was previously
It
stated.
almost
So, like,
needs to be a new paragraph.
right.
Right.
Like, because you're so used to other games saying, you know, if X is in your discard pile, draw X. Then do this. And you're like, okay, well, both sentences only proc if X is in my discard pile.
Right.
Like, that is how your brain normally goes in board games because it usually works that way. And in this game, no. Only the second half of the first sentence needs that prerequisite. And the
Right.
second sentence is its own sentence that you will always do no matter what.
Right.
And that is going to come up a lot in this game, so just pay attention.
Yeah,
to that.
and I think you're right. I think that like we have only scratched the surface of the confusion
Right.
that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
will encounter.
Yeah,
with-
because even
with
like
some
when
of
you
these.
get done, it says take some of these cards, put
Oh
them
my
aside.
gosh.
And it's just the way it's like, okay, you could have just said take all of those. I
Yeah.
mean, just the way it was worded is very
They're being very
convoluted.
specific.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of lawyers made this.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's like that exercise of like telling you have to tell this person how to make a
make a
peanut
peanut
butter
butter
sandwich,
toast, yeah.
and they can only do exactly what you tell them to do, step
Right.
by step. So you can't presume.
if they know how to spread peanut
Yeah,
butter.
you can't
Yeah.
say spread the butter now.
What?
What?
I mean, that actually works really well. My dog loves it when I do it that
butter.
way. 'Cause I get to give him my. Never mind.
I was doing it on the table.
Oh, That's even
Yeah,
worse.
Winston Smalley, get up
He's
on the
small.
table.
Yeah.
Put him up there. But yeah, so anyways, your overall thoughts, so pretty positive.
Yeah,
feel good about
I
it.
really enjoy it. I mean, some of the, you'll see some similarities, right? Sparks and crystals were like your basic damage spells and your basic like purchase power cards. But like everybody's like asymmetrical cards that you get, like and your asymmetrical abilities are all super cool and interesting. The way they Tim's kind of sucked, but like everybody else's was pretty good. The art, I like some of like the art. Like this art looks really cool. Like I dig it. I dig this art, but it's not. It's inconsistent.
This
I feel.
is my favorite.
I feel it's somewhat inconsistent. Like
I
you look at the
love
gems, and the gems are
I'm just
blank.
going to show off his character art really quick.
Yeah,
That's
I
actually this guy right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like that guy's character art a lot.
Oh, my character art is garbage. That dude looks terrible. He looks terrible.
It looks like, well, it's like PS5 versus PS1 is the problem. It just,
It almost
it
looks like
literally
a WoW
looks like
character.
lower definition and stuff. Like,
terrible.
It's weird.
It's
Yeah.
cartoony.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, it's not even that it's a different art style though. It just looks like they tone down the graphics. Like it's just a weird look when
Yeah.
Yeah,
compared.
I think my issue is that like all of this artwork in the game, even the good artwork, still looks kind of like poor man's digitally rendering, digital rendering, and not like hand drawn. I guess I just like,
Sure.
The map leaves a lot to be desired, right? So you get this map, it's right at the beginning, so it's not like spoilers.
There's
and then
no
it's just like,
spoilers
oh,
on
and you
it.
add fire tokens when things happen, but it's like, okay, well, they don't match the shape of the fire that you've got on the thing.
yeah, the fire tokens
It's very
do not match the
weird.
shape of the fire.
Yeah, it's a little
Some weird
odd.
choices.
Yeah, it's definitely a choice they made.
This is
We'll say that.
clearly they made this first.
Yes.
And then was like, that fire is gonna be real expensive to print, so
Yeah.
we'll just print these.
Yeah.
Or one team made this, another
Yeah.
team made this.
Possible.
It
Yeah.
could be. So like I say, I mean, there's definitely room for improvement. But like, if you enjoy the Aeon's End, like the way the play style works, like I think you'll really enjoy this. Now, a little bit of inside baseball. The original Aeon's Legacy is very much more like a start from scratch. Like you are like beginning wizards and you're really building up your character. This is like sometimes if you play D&D or DM's like, okay, go ahead and make your character level 3. We're already level 3. Like we've already got abilities. We already have some stuff going on, and so it's like you're already a seasoned.
I felt like I was level 1.
Well, NPC level 0. So. But yeah, so there is that to keep in mind too, because when I did start my other Legacy of Gravehold with some friends, they thought that it was going to be more like the original one and get to build a character from scratch. You're not necessarily from scratch. You'll definitely be altering it and making it better and more like your own kind of style, but you aren't building it from scratch.
And as far as we could tell, right, your deck doesn't carry over into the next one. So you reset your deck, you're going to have a different lineup. But
you can upgrade those cards.
An altered lineup of cards that you can buy from. There, you can encounter some upgraded cards potentially.
Yes, so you will earn experience points and stuff as you finish killing stuff.
Right.
And
well, now that this one is
them,
completely upgraded, like this seems like a card you would never want to buy.
Well, so the way that these work, right, because there are cards on here that will get boost and penalties on them as like certain things happen. In between scenarios, you'll take any cards that have marks on them and they go to the bottom of those decks.
Yeah, and some of those will be good and some of them will be bad.
Correct.
Like
that's correct.
This one, without going into specifics,
right?
Good.
Yeah, it's usually boosts.
This
good.
one bad.
Bad.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I can't buy those cards. I'm not going to buy those cards. No, I'm not.
Well, there's 8 million in the deck though. Like you can still.
Well, there's a bunch of cards underneath here.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. We're just using those to hide.
I was hiding some
Okay, he
stuff.
was hiding.
I was
My
hiding some
apologies.
stuff.
I was like, that seems fine.
There's so many.
Like,
of them.
why
You'll
is
never
there
get
so many
there.
of that one than all the others?
It's bad.
I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying
Sure.
that is a
thing.
limitation, right?
Sure.
It is a feature, not a bug.
Yep.
I believe that it was probably done intentionally.
Oh sure.
I think that while the design team focused a lot on they really clearly love their lore and their story that they have built, and they've worked really hard on designing these things to mechanically function like in a very good way. I think, except for this guy, I feel like they did all their energy here and then like forgot about this. And didn't really just kind of like the art is good enough because it's got nice colors. Like the colors are good. I like all the color schemes and everything. But I think like the level of art, the difference in art.
Even my
between,
art's not great. Like I like her because she's like steampunky looking.
My character
but my
was
face
drawn,
looks.
if my character was drawn like that, I would not complain about the art.
Sure.
But my character looks like a Saturday morning. I look like a dude that popped up on Scooby Doo. Like, are they gonna pull my mask off and be like, "Oh, it was Old Man Jenkins the whole time"?
Yeah.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you lousy mages. No, the art sucks at times, and the art's really nice at times.
Yeah.
But,
I say some of the art I really enjoyed, but then some of the art is kind of lackluster.
oh, very lackluster. But anyways. You guys have any other final thoughts before we wrap up on just kind of our first impressions and feelings about it?
Yeah, sure. So Dan's first impressions. I haven't mentioned any yet.
Bob went so long.
I did. Sorry about that.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually would go so far as to say I'm close to loving it with some caveats. There are some component discrepancies. That's all I'll say. This map to me feels like, oh, we need to do that thing that Gloomhaven does and stuff, right? Like, that's kind of what that feels like. It's almost unnecessary. It is kind of nice. They do refer to it, but do they only refer to it because they put it in the game? Who knows? But to me, it feels like this extra add-on at the end is like, oh, a lot of these big legacy games have this map with stickers and stuff.
And I feel like that map's going to get ripped up after play.
That's up to whoever takes care of it.
Yeah. Super flimsy. It is so flimsy.
That's something that may need to come in the pack, the refresh pack, because that's going to
Well,
replacement.
the stickers that you get will go across the top to upgrade your barracks.
Right. I loved the character that I played as. He has a deck that I'm constantly going through and buffing allies. I'm kind of like a utility bard kind of thing is like how I played him. And I liked that a lot. I do think it's weird. The main reason I say caveats is because like it's an engine builder that it just feels like it's going to constantly slap you in the face because like I built this cool deck, I handed you guys cool cards, and now next time we play, none of that matters.
Right.
And I get that, and as you play, you're going to be getting stickers and stuff like a legacy game, and you're going to be buffing your character over time, and that, I purposely haven't looked at the stickers and stuff, right? So they might let me start with different cards in my hand, or they might let me do my deck thing differently. And like, so that's where the real engine building is going to come from. And that's just like a mentality that I'm going to get into as we play later. But it just does kind of suck that I felt like I finally built this good thing, and then next game I just have to start from scratch. And it's just like, oh,
That's
okay.
disappointing.
Yeah. And so that's going to be in my first, 2 or 3 games. This kind of disappointing feeling, knowing that everything that I do is kind of for naught.
I felt that way in Seafall. Like, where I have to build up so much, and then the next mission, it's like, okay, take off all of the stuff you just built. Like, wait, what?
Right. But I really like this rotating breach system here. I like this managing these spells and slowly unlocking these. I like that quite a bit. It really does feel like it takes forever to unlock your special ability, which again is one of those things that now next time when we start over, it's going to take that long again because I don't have those cards anymore that were helping me do it.
But you might focus more on some charges, though, than you... Because you didn't do a lot of that at the early game.
Sure.
You can't do much in the early game, though, because you're so limited
to what you can buy.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the marked cards and stuff. Again, use sleeves if you don't like it. But I like the idea of this. These cards are really powerful, especially for only being 4. That's a pretty powerful damage that someone can just buy early game, like over and over again. But the more you buy it, the more you're risking, and then you're filling up that whole deck. And then late game, this thematic thing happens where it's like, well, we tapped into all this corrupted energy early on, and now it's dangerous for us to tap into that magic again, And same thing with the healing. Oh, well, we practiced our healing so much that we are now efficient with it, and now every time we cast it, it's better. And stuff, right? And like,
all that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I just like the way all that works. I'm trying to just look at all the components. I think overall, those are my basic thoughts. I liked the way the systems came together. It made a fun deck builder. Oh, and I guess I should mention too, I did totally fall for the whole flip your deck over mechanic. I think that is really cool.
No, it's totally fine.
Setting up your future turns is just a really interesting, and obviously it's not perfect. It's not like, oh, I'm going to discard these 5 cards first because then I'll draw those 5. Well, no, it depends how many cards are left in your, you might just draw 3 and then mess up the whole order kind of, right? But I totally fell for the gimmick. And so I would just say it's a game with a bunch of gimmicks kind of thrown together that I think made an engaging experience for me. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to playing it again. I mean, it's a deck builder. It's unfair.
Yeah.
I also want to say it's definitely a cooperative game. His abilities, when he gave one to me, made my character so much better. Did nothing for him. Well, it did a little bit.
It did enough. Yeah.
But yeah, I could help other characters, and there's one of these guys that gives everyone else money, but not me money. And so, yeah, the fact that we have to work together to really do it, I enjoyed that a lot.
Which is where turn order comes in.
And that's where the turn order comes in, because there were points where I was like, do you have something that will give people money? You do. You go first.
Yeah. I would love that extra $1.
Exactly. I mean, that could make it break it.
Yep.
I mean, that could be it.
It could totally make or break your turn. I've got a lot of really mixed feelings because I felt like the beginning of the game was really boring and grinding and not that interesting.
Just trying to handle minions and build up.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, it's fine. And I was really, disappointed by the art, like, still. It's like, this game's very popular. This game, they make a ton of money off of this game. Like, do better with the art. But I never got the flip mechanic to do anything special for me. So for me, that is, I might as well have shuffled my deck because it didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
My character was kind of a dud. I enjoyed the artwork of him. I just grabbed him. But I just have, I don't care about the lore. I think that I don't find the lore interesting at all. And I am a person that does read a lot of fantasy and science fiction and stuff like that. But if this were like a series of books, I would have read the first one and probably just been like, well, not interested. I don't find and I actually, it's kind of weird, and I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but like between the 2 sides you pick, it's like, I don't like either side. Like, I don't want to help either of these people, without going into like any spoilers. I mean, that's just enough, right? I didn't.
The renegade side.
I thought both sides were like, not like poorly written, but just like, no, I don't like either of these people. I don't want to help either side. But anyways, those are my own personal hiccups. But once the game got going, and we did get things moving, it was interesting. I was never bored. It was grinding and kind of frustrating, but I was never bored. It held my attention. I love deck builders. you know, I love, and you know, Dan and I always talk about how we love difficult co-ops. This is a difficult co-op.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and that was like the tutorial mission, basically.
Yeah.
And we look and we're like, this could get hairy.
Well, and Bob's like, we didn't win our first one either. And it's like, oh crap. Like, here we go. Like, all right, buckle up. Let's go.
And the second one was even worse.
So, I mean, like, so gameplay wise, like, so my opinions and my gripes about the aesthetics of the game, whatever, gameplay wise, I had a good time.
Yeah.
You know, like this gimmick is a gimmick. It didn't do anything extra for me, but it didn't detract from my experience either, right? It's not a negative. It's just not a plus. It's just a thing.
If you want to shuffle, you can shuffle.
It's in there. Yeah. Right. I don't know that would make me feel better. I got to shuffle the turn order.
You did. That's what I love. Yeah.
This way he can blame the game and not himself.
Yeah.
You drew the cards you put down, so I don't know what your problem is.
Some of the rulings and stuff, the words are it's interestingly worded. Like Dan said, it is exactly what it intends to be. It states very, very clearly, exactly, but maybe overly clearly what it wants to say. But those are nitpicks. I had fun, you know, like I don't love it. I can't wait to play more with you guys because the whole point of this thing is to let's see how our opinions evolve as we play a couple. So we're gonna do another video after we play our second session, you know, and you know, will my, you know, hard blackened heart soften?
Will Tim's heart soften? Find out next time.
Maybe.
His breach grew 3 times that day.
You know, and it's also like kind of weird that like I built up like and opened up all these breaches and then I'm gonna like be done fighting this guy and I go home and take a nap and all of my breaches are now closed.
Again, my thing for that is these stickers better be powerful because I want to feel like I'm leveling up between games.
Right,
you know,
right.
I don't want to feel like I'm starting from
looked at a few.
scratch.
I
Some of them are good.
I feel like it would be a little different if it was like carry over one card. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or carry over one relic and one spell. You know, something like that might be more interesting. You know, keep a spell, a gem, and a relic. I'm just adding more and more stuff.
Yeah. Keep everything.
Keep all the cards you
keep
bought.
everything. But and I get why you can't keep every card that you bought because your deck is going to get unmanageable at some point in time.
Killing a card would then become really powerful because, I mean, that
Destroying.
card's gone forever.
Right.
Or
But
banish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look forward to seeing more. Like I didn't hate this. I didn't have a miserable time. I was engaged the whole time. I just wasn't always my favorite thing, you know. But you know, I'm really glad we're all taking a shot on this and trying it out. I know you guys were more excited than me, but I was the one that instigated this because it's like
You started it.
I did. I want to like this game.
Yeah.
I just the first time I played it, I really didn't.
We were mad.
And I wanna like this game. And because clearly like very passionate people put time into it. I just wish they'd put time into art. But anyways, anything else before we
Yeah, real quick. The whole trying to set up your hand thing, flipping over. But there are certain cards that let you draw cards out of your discard pile. That really makes it hard to set up your hand. Just want to say that.
you set up your hand by
Putting the
now
card
this
in
is in my hand.
set
my
up.
belly.
But I can't set up for future turns. I can set up for now.
Well, you can still go through your discard pile and see what your future turn's going to be, though.
Right. Like,
This is
I'm
true.
drawing
This is
this and
true.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
like,
I need
wow,
to do more
I'm
of
terrible
that.
at this.
Like, oh, my first card next.
Yeah, I think the first couple turns you like were putting your card first instead of putting it last, and then you were
Yeah, that
drawing
one
it
card.
too soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that one card hurts you a lot.
But that one card was still like,
But that's one of your main cards your guy does.
yeah, but I still have to build up all the charges, and I've got to buy spells to make that worthwhile. It just kind of like your ability initially, where you're like, that is a lot of work for very little reward.
Right.
Like,
So maybe we're doing yours wrong.
then we found out that
It
yours-
it activates each one of those each
it's
time.
better. Mine is still like a lot of work for not that great of a reward.
Well, it's not as much work though.
Yeah, but 2, 4, 6, 8 to do maybe 5 damage is not that exciting.
7 to do 5.
Yeah, but that also heals.
Yeah,
It's more exciting.
it is.
That's all I'm saying.
Thanks, Bob.
Your
input has
ability,
been
news.
great.
your ability's super exciting.
It is.
Spencer's abilities were super exciting.
Yeah, they're
great.
Your abilities were super exciting.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yep.
I'm here.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
are.
like your abilities are just to be easier to get.
Well, we'll
things.
also see though how more powerful and stuff spells get later on because
Right.
this was
That's
just
true.
the tier 1 spells. You might get spells later on that are cheap and do a ability that stacks with that really well. You know?
Maybe.
But again, though, I agree that it's a bad feeling even when it's a great engine. It's always a bad feeling when you have a late game engine.
Yes.
Because you just watch everyone else doing stuff around you while you're just chugging and chugging and chugging, and then the boss has 10 health left, and you're like, I'm in it, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. That's a rough feeling.
And I will say though that like I felt useful. I just wasn't
Right.
like utilizing my character in a way that was like optimal, you know, and like you don't get that because one of these things with an engine builder is it's satisfying when you get that engine to fire. And my engine only fired because I built my deck to make it fire, not because the character like did something to help make it fire.
I was gonna laugh
That's
really hard if
true.
there was a really cool ability on the back that he forgot to read.
No, yeah. He says
It's not.
It's all lore.
It's all
and
lore.
Spoiler alert, I don't like any of the lore, so yeah.
so I don't read.
But anyways, and my character's got a dumb name.
It's Lost is a weak name.
Yeah, I don't like
You're
that.
gonna get a companion, and it's gonna be called And Found.
Aww.
If
then
it's
you'll
that
be whole
squirrel
again.
and his name is Found, I'm just gonna kill myself.
Dude, Lost and Found?
Yeah.
That's actually amazing.
He brings you little charms and stuff.
Only if you
And then you instantly lose them. Like, I'm so sorry,
I'm
Found.
sorry. It's fine. I lost it again.
wah, wah.
Man, you're really lost it. No, that doesn't work. It's
Call him
losing.
Mr. Butterfingers.
Yeah.
I hope it's
So-
Found.
Anyways, guys, I hope y'all found this interesting. Oh, you know, if anything, this might give you some insight. If you, I think people that already love Aeon's End, you're gonna want this.
You're gonna
I
like
just
it.
have a feeling, based on Bob's reaction, as somebody who's a fan of the whole series.
Yep.
And you know, and this doesn't do anything to remedy any of my gripes yet.
Yep.
But I did like this more than the first time I played.
Hopefully, you get some of those stickers on your guy, and you'll be like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
And Found. So anyways, guys, I think that'll be all for now. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
That was Bob.
I'm Spencer.
Malistar.
I was lost. We'll see you next time.